Bonnie Parker's legend is all speed and swagger, guns in hand, a camera-ready grin, always one step ahead. That's the Bonnie everyone thinks they know, the public enemy, the face on wanted posters, a Hollywood myth blown up to the size of Texas. But if you could swing open the door on one of her worst summer days, you'd find something a lot less cinematic. You'd see Bonnie curled up in the back seat of a battered Ford V8, sweltering in the heat, her leg wrapped in filthy rags, fighting not to scream every time the car hit a bump. For all the bullets fired in their names, it wasn't a cop or a rival or even a shotgun that nearly killed Bonnie. The closest she came to death, that was thanks to a car battery cheap, heavy, full of acid, and somehow a bigger threat than every lawman in Texas. The wound that almost ended her wasn't a headline-grabbing gunshot. It was a chemical burn, the kind that doesn't just hurt, it rots, it festers, it rewrites what it means to be an outlaw. Suddenly, it's not about living fast. It's about battling your own flesh and the stink of your own legend, both of them breaking down by the mile. So here's what happened. June 1933, Texas. The Barrow Gang is running ragged already. Clyde at the wheel, Bonnie and W.D. Jones up front, Blanche and Buck Barrow squeezed in the back. Tension's high, everyone on edge. They're flying down dark back roads, trying to outrun another tale. Out of the nighttime haze, the Wellington Bridge looms up missing planks. No warning, no chance to dodge. Clyde cranks the wheel, and in a blink, the Ford tears through a broken railing. There's no time for cursing, just the shriek of metal, glass shattering, bodies slamming into steel doors. Then comes the real danger. The battery breaks loose, and acid splashes. Some say it gushes straight onto Bonnie's right leg. She's pinned under the dash, soaked from thigh to calf. You want gangster wounds? Forget bullets for a minute. This is skin-melting, flesh-peeling acid. The smell alone could make you gag, and it seeps right into your clothes. Bonnie's scream isn't anything like the movies. It's pure panic, the kind that freezes even bank robbers. In that instant, loot and guns stop mattering. Bonnie's trapped, and nobody can risk a hospital. Lawmen would be the least of their problems if anyone saw what was left of her leg. They drag her out her leg, now a mess of acid and blood, then scramble for anything that could work as a bandage. Shirts, slips, whatever isn't soaked in oil or beans. There's no antiseptic, no doctor, not even a clean cup of water. Just desperate outlaws, hands shaking, trying to stop the bleeding and praying the leg doesn't have to come off. All the while, Clyde's eyes are scanning the darkness for headlights that mean another roadblock. That first night says it all. Forced off the road, the gang works by the glow of busted headlamps. Bonnie is shaking, wrapped tight in dirty rags, her legs swelling by the hour. The inside of the car turns thick chemical, sweat, and whatever's rotting in the back seat. Clyde tries to keep her talking. W.D. mutters about their luck. Blanche does what she can, but everyone knows this is a disaster. Let's get practical. Bonnie can't walk or crawl is out of the question. Suddenly, the car is a hideout, an ambulance, and a prison all rolled into one. Every whispered conversation is about how to keep moving without getting spotted, or what to do if the leg turns worse. They change the dressings when they can, but every rag peels away skin and muscle with it. For pain, they've got nothing, just nerves and the growing fear they're about to watch Bonnie die. Forget the headlines about the invincible outlaw queen. The real Bonnie is a burned, helpless woman, baking in a stinking car with a wound that's killing her inch by inch. The law is the least of her worries. Her real enemies are time, heat, and the slow rot setting in. By sunrise, no one slept. The car is a rolling sauna, thick with exhaustion and fear. Bonnie's feverish, shivering, with a wound that's leaking more yellow ooze than actual blood. If you're wondering what that smells like, start with a butcher shop in July, then add sweat, rotten food, and gasoline. Flies hover by the wound before the sun's even up. Crack a window for air, you just let in more. As for first aid, you'd have better luck fixing a broken leg with a prayer. No doctor, no pharmacy, and not even a real bottle of rubbing alcohol. Their medical kit is nothing but scraps somebody's slip, a shirt, a dented water bucket, anything less filthy than everything else. And every square inch inside that Ford is caked in crumbs, sticky bottles, and gun oil. If there was a worse place to recover from a chemical burn, this was it. And they never stopped moving. Clyde's glued to the rear view, always ready to swerve off another gravel road that jostles Bonnie's leg against the seat. Every pothole is fresh agony. The acid didn't just burn the skin, it chewed through layers of flesh. There's no morphine, no aspirin, just Clyde's calloused hands, Bonnie biting down on a strip of fabric, and pain that makes your vision go white. Logistics quickly turn nightmarish. Bonnie can barely sit up. Every bathroom stop is a 3-person operation. Clyde and W.D. half carry her, feet dragging in the dust, while Blanche shields her with a coat for privacy. Fancy soap and clean water? Not a chance. Around here, hygiene means hoping the beans aren't moldy. Day after day, it's the same ritual. Peel off the bandage, which always sticks to road grit and scab flesh. Try not to gag. Wrap it again with whatever's available. The new rag isn't saving anyone, it's just slowing the rot. Blanche tries to wave flies away. The rest do their best not to lose it. This is the kind of outlaw glamour the movies skip straight past. By late afternoon, the Ford's turned into a rolling petri dish. Sweat, gas, spoiled food, and a kind of rot that settles into the seats. There are stories you could smell the Barrow Gang's car before you ever saw it. Not exactly the signature Bonnie would have penned in her poetry. Every supply run is a tightrope. If Bonnie's seen limping or being carried, locals start watching. Someone always shields her from view while the others scrape together beans, water, or even a clean towel. Sometimes the crime isn't robbing a bank, it's stealing a roll of gauze from a rural store. Most days, it's down to improvising. What can pass for a bandage? What can survive a rinse in creek water? The wound just gets angrier, changing color, stinking sharper, never really going down. Inside the gang, the mood's shifting. Clyde isn't just the driver anymore. Now he's the nurse, errand runner, and whatever passes for hope. He carries Bonnie, tries to kid her along, but there's not much left to say. W.D. gets quieter. Blanche is stretched thin, her nerves snapping from tending the wound and fending off flies. Nobody says it out loud, but Bonnie's injury is dragging the whole gang down. Occasionally, someone tries to break the tension. Clyde might joke, "We could open our own clinic, just need a sign and a bottle of Lysol." Bonnie might crack, "I'm half a bandit now," or threaten to knock over the next pharmacy for iodine. But there's never real laughter. Not when America's most wanted woman can't even stand, her leg wrapped in rags that look more like a burial shroud than a bandage. Suddenly, it changes everything. Bonnie can't go in on jobs, can't even show her face near a scene. Anyone who sees her figures out something's wrong. Every plan now starts with, how fast can we move Bonnie if we have to run? The gang is now less a crew and more a rolling, unsanitary hospital. Every mile is a trade-off. Stay hidden and risk infection, or move and risk getting caught. And that's the moment the Bonnie and Clyde myth really starts to crack. Forget the stories of outlaw soulmates blazing through the back row. In that filthy Ford, it's just two broken people and a couple of friends, fighting not just the law, but a wound that's poisoning them all. Heroics? Try keeping your partner's wound from rotting long enough to see another sunrise. Sometimes the wound is all anyone can think about. The sweet, rotten smell never leaves. Flies crawl the rags every time they pause. Any bump or swerve is a fresh stab of pain. Changing the bandage is a test of everyone's nerve. The cloth sticks, scabs tear, new blood bubbles out, and infection creeps higher. Nobody pretends it's getting better. What's terrifying isn't just the pain, it's seeing the angry redness spread and the skin start to blacken. And then, after weeks of sweat, blood, flies, and car sickness, comes the moment that lives in every one of their memories. During one grim bandage change, they realize you can see bone-bright white, glinting through oozing flesh, the color of a peach left in the sun. The car goes silent. Clyde's hands shake. Blanche looks away. Anywhere else, it'd mean a hospital or a grave. From then on, Bonnie doesn't even try to walk. Clyde has to carry her, sometimes draped over his shoulder, sometimes cradled like a child every time they have to move fast. The gang's world shrinks to just the car, the road, and the smell that trails them everywhere. Robberies get rare, risks get higher, and every plan starts with figuring out how to carry a dying woman and not leave a trail of blood behind. The fear shifts from cops to the slow horror that Bonnie might die rotting in the back seat, the smell betraying them before any lawman ever does. If you want a single image for the final year of Bonnie and Clyde, don't think of shootouts or wind-whipped escapes. Picture a scorched Texas road, a battered Ford V8, heavy with desperation, and Bonnie Parker, America's most wanted, barely conscious, leg wrapped in rags, bone shining through, the stench so thick even her crew flinches. That's the legend. Stripped of every lie, not a bulletproof beauty, but a crippled woman carried by love, loyalty, and a stubborn doom Hollywood never dared put on screen. So, next time you see a movie poster with Faye Dunaway striding into a bank, or you hear about Bonnie's bad leg, remember the truth was uglier, slower, and a whole lot more human. Bonnie's limp wasn't some colorful quirk. It was an untreated acid burn that infected every desperate mile, reshaped every plan, and haunted the gang right to the end. That's outlaw history, stripped down not by bullets, but by rot, grit, and wounds nobody ever put on a postcard. If you want more raw, unfiltered outlaw reality, the food, the wounds, the ugly details Hollywood skips, hit subscribe. Here we drag up the stuff other channels leave buried. No gloss, no legend polishing, just the nasty, stubborn truth.